my celestial wanderers. Welcome back to my blog, where astrology flows into holistic harmony. I'm your cosmic cat astrologer, Maya Cat, here to share celestial wisdom, one per at a time. Mark your calendar, November 26, 2025. A rare grand trine in Earth signs, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, all aligned within 1 degree. A powerful window for stability, financial clarity, and enduring relationships. The cosmos is inviting stillness, reassess what you truly value, and let patience guide your next steps. Mercury retrograde confirms this, no new launches. Only deep review. As always, I've brought in the brilliant Brian to co-pilot this presentation. Brian, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Maya. You always know how to spark curiosity. Let's uncover exactly how these astral alignments will shape our paths and why embracing change could lead to magic. On November 26, 2025, the sky features a rare grand trine in Earth signs, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, all aligned within runnage of exact trine aspects to one another. This forms a near-perfect equilateral triangle in the zodiac, a configuration associated with stability, opportunity, and quiet support from the cosmos. All 3 planets will be in Earth signs, Venus in Capricorn, Jupiter in Taurus, Saturn in Virgo, as if the heavens had convened a board meeting of the most responsible, well-dressed, and slightly over-prepared executives in the universe, where Venus arrives in a tailored wool coat with a hand-knitted scarf. Jupiter carries a basket of artisanal sourdough and a handwritten note saying, "I believe in you." And Saturn is there with 3 binders labeled Risk Assessment, Contingency Plan B, and Why We Don't Trust Cloud Storage. Earth signs ground energy into tangible form, practicality, patience, structure, and stewardship of resources, with all 3 major benefics and the taskmaster, Saturn, harmonizing in this element. The collective atmosphere on this day is likely to carry the following qualities. What the global population may feel on this day. It might be a warm, relaxing sense of calm optimism, not euphoric or impulsive, but steady and grounded. There's a feeling that things can work if approached responsibly, as if the universe finally handed out a user manual for life, written in clear Helvetica, with footnotes in Latin and a QR code that leads to a 5-minute meditation on composting. Increased patience with delays or bureaucracy, especially around finances, relationships, or long-term plans. Because for once the DMV employee smiles without being asked. Your bank's automated system doesn't ask you to verify your mother's maiden name again, and your partner actually remembers to take out the trash without being reminded, which, let's be honest, is practically a miracle. Heightened appreciation for simplicity, nature, craftsmanship, and reliability. People may feel more drawn to real, lasting value over flash or hype. So instead of buying another TikTok famous gadget that breaks after 2 uses, you find yourself lingering in a bookstore, running your fingers over the spine of a well-bound edition of Rilke, or sitting in your garden, watching a single, stubborn dandelion push through cracked pavement, and for the first time in years, you don't feel the need to Instagram it. A subtle but noticeable softening of tensions in social or institutional settings, as Saturn's discipline is tempered by Jupiter's generosity and Venus's grace, meaning your colleague who always argues about the thermostat finally agrees to turn it down. Your landlord sends a text that says, "Let's fix the leak together." And even the politician on the news pauses mid-sentence, looks into the camera and says, "You know what? I think we should just try being kind." On November 26, 2025, you can expect constructive progress in areas involving shared resources, infrastructure, sustainability, or economic policy, especially if efforts have been consistent and well planned. So the community garden that's been struggling since 2021 finally gets its irrigation system fixed, the co-op bakery turns a profit for the first time, and your city council actually votes to install bike lanes without a single public hearing turning into a shouting match. Favorable conditions for signing agreements, making long-term financial decisions or strengthening commitments, personal or professional, as trust and realism are both emphasized, meaning you finally sign that lease, you agree to the prenup without tears, you invest in that slow-growth mutual fund your grandfather recommended in 1997, and you say yes to the quiet, steady love that's been beside you for years. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's true. A collective pause toward reflection. People may reassess what truly matters: security, loyalty, integrity, and realign choices accordingly. So someone quits a job that drains their soul, someone else calls their estranged sibling, someone else stops buying things they don't need and starts growing herbs on their windowsill. And all of it happens not in a blaze of revelation, but in the quiet, ordinary moment after tea, when the silence feels less empty and more like a hell breath before a deep, healing exhale. Opportunities to resolve lingering issues through compromise rather than confrontation, particularly in partnerships or community matters, meaning the neighbor who hated your fence for a decade now brings you homemade jam, the divorce mediation ends with hugs, and the church group finally agrees to fund the community kitchen, instead of arguing over whether the chairs should be wooden or metal. November 26, 2025 offers a rare celestial window of harmonious realism. It's not a day of dramatic shifts, but of quiet alignment, when integrity, patience, and goodwill can yield tangible, lasting results. The cosmos invites humanity to act with both wisdom and kindness, knowing that what is built slowly often endures longest. Like the old oak tree that survived the storm because it didn't try to grow fast, but deep. A grand trine involving Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, especially when all three aspects are exact within Finalize, is considered rare for several precise astrological reasons. Jupiter takes 112 years to orbit the zodiac, about one sign per year. Saturn takes 29. 5 years, 2.5 years per sign. Venus moves quickly, completing the zodiac in under 1 year, but for it to form exact trines to both Jupiter and Saturn at the same time, it must pass through a very narrow window, within 1 to 2 degrees of two slow-moving outer planets that themselves must already be trined to each other. For all three to be within Saturn of exact trines simultaneously, the alignment requires a precise cosmic handshake that doesn't happen often. Imagine 3 people who haven't spoken in decades, each living on different continents, finally arriving at the same train station at the exact same minute, carrying identical suitcases, and realizing they're all going to the same funeral, of a shared illusion that happiness must be loud to be real. Jupiter-Saturn trines are infrequent. Jupiter and Saturn form a trine approximately once every 20 years, since they meet in a conjunction every 20 years, and trines occur at 120 BTs intervals in that cycle. But even then, Venus must be in the right place at the right time to trine both. And Venus only passes through any given degree once a year, or twice, during retrograde loops. The odds of it hitting that narrow window on the same day as the Jupiter-Saturn trine is exact are low, like finding a specific grain of sand on a beach in Chile that matches the exact hue of your childhood blanket, and then discovering it was placed there on purpose by someone who loved you before you were born. Elemental purity, all in earth signs, adds rarity. On November 26, 2025, Venus in Capricorn, Earth, Jupiter in Taurus, Earth, Saturn in Virgo, Earth. This forms a grand trine in earth signs, a complete harmonious circuit in a single element. Grand trines in any element are uncommon, one involving 3 major planets, especially including slow-moving Saturn and Jupiter, in mutual reception through element, is astrologically significant and occurs only a handful of times per century in such tight orb, as if the universe had decided, for one perfect day, to suspend all the noise of air, fire, and water, and let the earth speak in its own voice, slow, steady, rooted, and unapologetically real. Orb of first to grow and makes it exceptionally precise. Astrologers consider a trine exact within a 5 to 8 degree orb, but first degree is very tight, indicating peak intensity and clarity of the aspect. For 3 such aspects to converge within 1 degree on a single day is statistically unusual, like 3 metronomes set to different tempos, falling into perfect sync not by chance but because they were all listening to the same silent heartbeat. Historical context: the last time Venus, Jupiter and Saturn formed a tight grand trine in Earth signs was not in recent memory, likely decades ago. Similar configurations occurred in 1961, but with wider orbs and mixed elements. 1920s, 1930s, also less exact or not all in Earth. Thus, November 26, 2025 stands out as a rare, high-precision alignment, a moment of celestial harmony that combines maturity, Saturn, grace, Venus, and benevolence, Jupiter, in the grounded practical language of Earth. That's why astrologers regard it as a noteworthy and potent day for collective and personal stability, building, and realistic optimism. It is a good combination. This configuration, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn in exact trine, all in Earth signs, is one of the most structurally supportive and beneficial alignments in astrology. It is not chaotic, volatile, or challenging. Rather, it is harmonious, stabilizing, and conducive to lasting outcomes. Why it is good? Venus brings harmony, value, and beauty. Not the kind you find in a magazine spread, but the kind you find in the way your mother hums while folding laundry, or how your husband still brings you coffee in bed even after 20 years, even though you've told him 100 times you prefer tea. Jupiter expands opportunity, abundance, and goodwill. Not the kind that shows up as a lottery win, but the kind that arrives as a quiet job offer from someone who believes in your work, or the unexpected check from a client who says, "I know you don't charge much, but this is for you." Saturn provides structure, discipline, and endurance. The kind that lives in the daily ritual of writing at dawn, the kind that shows up at therapy even when you're tired, the kind that keeps showing up for your son even when he doesn't say thank you. Together, they form a triple reinforcement of practical wisdom. What is built with care will flourish. What is valued will be rewarded. What is sustained with patience will endure. There is no tension, no friction, no pressure to force change. Instead, there is quiet momentum, a cosmic undercurrent that supports responsible action, thoughtful investment, and authentic connection. There is no impulsivity, no recklessness, no emotional turbulence in this celestial intersection. This is not a day of dramatic breakthroughs or sudden upheavals. It is a day of steady, reliable progress. The energy is mature, measured, and matured. It rewards those who act with integrity, delay gratification for long-term gain, and honor substance over spectacle. This day is good for building, committing, investing, healing, and creating lasting value. And it is not good for speculation, excess, shortcuts, or emotional avoidance. It is a gift of cosmic balance, the kind of day that reminds humanity that true abundance is not loud. It is lasting. It is rare. Absolutely rare. Not quite once in a lifetime, but rare enough to be memorable and meaningful. Here's a clearer perspective. Jupiter-Saturn trines occur roughly once every 20 years as part of their Taurus 20-year synodic cycle. They conjoin every 20 years and form trines about 7 and 14 years after each conjunction. However, for Venus to align exactly with both, forming a tight, 1-degree orb grand trine in Earth signs, is much less frequent. Historical examples: the closest similarly tight Earth grand trine with Venus, Jupiter and Saturn occurred in early January 1944, during WW2's, though with slightly wider orbs and different dignity conditions. In early January 1944, the global mood was a mix of determined optimism and tense anticipation, and perhaps, somewhere in a bombed-out apartment in London, a woman tucked a letter into her coat pocket, wrote, "I still believe in tomorrow," and kept walking. The next comparably precise alignment in Earth signs with all 3 planets within 1 to 2 days isn't expected again until the late 2040s. So, while you may experience 2 to 3 such configurations in a lifetime, The exactness, wonder-green orb, and elemental coherence, all in Earth signs, of the November 26, 2025 alignment make it stand out, especially in the modern era, where planetary cycles and dignities align favorably. Think of it like this. You might see a partial solar eclipse several times in your life, but a total eclipse along your own longitude, that's rare. Similarly, Grand Trines happen, but a tight, slow planet, elemental Grand Trine involving Venus, Jupiter and Saturn is like an astrological sweet spot, infrequent, well-ordered and potent. For most people alive in 2025, this will be the most exact and harmonious Earth Grand Trine involving these three planets they'll witness in their adult life, making it a notable and beneficial moment to act with intention, especially in matters of love, finance, sustainability, and long-term commitments. If this Grand Trine in Earth signs is so rare, does it mark turning points in human consciousness, collective evolution, or civilizational cycles? Let's approach this honestly without mystification and grounded in both traditional and modern astrological understanding. This is not an epic day, but this is a day saturated with deep happiness. While the Venus-Jupiter-Saturn Grand Trine in Earth signs on November 26, 2025 is rare and harmonious, it is not inherently revolutionary. Unlike hard aspects, squares, oppositions, or major alignments involving Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, or eclipses, this configuration does not signal upheaval, revelation, or paradigm collapse. Instead, it supports consolidation, maturation, and quiet realignment. Think of it less as a new spiral of existence and more as a cosmic sigh of relief, a moment when the collective can breathe, steady itself, and build wisely after periods of strain. Astrologically, true civilizational shifts are usually marked by Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions, especially in new elements like the 2020 Great Conjunction in Air, beginning a 200-year Air era, Pluto ingresses, e.g. Pluto into Aquarius in 2024, Uranus-Pluto squares or conjunctions, e.g. 1960s, 2012, 2015, solar eclipses on national or global angles. This Grand Trine does not initiate a new cycle, but it stabilizes an existing one. Will people feel or remember it, even unconsciously? Yes, but in a very special way, because it is a benefic, harmonious, earth-based aspect. Its influence is more felt in the background than in headlines. People may experience unexpected moments of trust, generosity, or patience in daily life. Like the barista who remembers your name and your order and doesn't charge you for the extra shot because you've been through a lot lately. Or the stranger who holds the door open for you and says, "I hope your day gets better." And you realize you haven't been thanked for anything in months. Feel a quiet sense that things are working out despite ongoing global tensions. Not because the world has become perfect, but because you've finally stopped waiting for it to be. Make small but meaningful decisions, e.g. reconciling with someone, signing a lease, choosing sustainability, that later prove pivotal. Like the day you finally delete the toxic app, the day you say yes to the therapy session you've been postponing, the day you plant that sapling in your yard and don't check on it every hour, trusting that growth doesn't need applause. Few people will definitely say, November 26th, 2025, that was one of the best days of my life. Many people may recall it as a day of clarity, calm, or quiet turning, like a deep breath before continuing a long journey. Does it push humanity toward more spirituality? Absolutely, but this is very unique sensation of spirituality. Since all planets are in Earth signs, this alignment embodies spirituality through practice, not theory, service over dogma, meaning the prayer isn't whispered in a cathedral, but spoken in the quiet of a kitchen at 5 a.m. while making oatmeal for your son, and you don't say a word, but you feel it anyway. Stewardship over speculation, meaning your faith isn't in a trend, but in the soil, in the water, in the hands that tend what's already here. Embodied love over abstract ideals, meaning you don't love humanity in the abstract, You love the way your husband still leaves his socks in the hallway, even after you've asked him 100 times, and you love him anyway. It doesn't open portals or awaken mass mysticism. Instead, it honors the sacred in the ordinary. A fair contract, a loyal friend, a well-tended garden, honest work. In that sense, it may encourage a more grounded, ethical, and materially responsible form of consciousness, not less spiritual, but more integrated. So, what is its true significance? This Grand Trine is not a historical marker like a Pluto return or a great conjunction, but it is a rare window of grace, a day when the cosmos says, "You've been through enough. Now build something real." Its rarity makes it astrologically precious, not because it changes the world in one stroke, but because it enables better choices, and better choices, repeated, do shift civilizations over time. So while November 26, 2025 may not be remembered in history books, it could be remembered in lives. The day someone chose commitment over fear, the day a community funded a local project, the day a person finally felt worthy of stability. And that in the long arc of human development matters deeply. But wait, there is more. Please recall that Mercury is retrograde from November 9th to November 29th, 2025, and therefore stationary direct on November 26th, its final retrograde day. Turning direct on November 30th adds a nuanced layer to the otherwise harmonious Grand Trine of Venus, Jupiter, Saturn in Earth signs. Let's clarify what this means and how the two energies interact. Key timing detail: Mercury's status on Nov 26, 2025. Mercury stations direct on November 30th, 2025, at 3 degrees Sagittarius. On November 26th, Mercury is still retrograde, but very close to its station, moving extremely slowly, appearing nearly motionless in the sky. This makes Mercury powerfully emphasized, retrograde and standing still, which intensifies its themes of review, hesitation, and internal processing. Mercury retrograde interacts with the Grand Trine in a very special way in 2025. The Grand Trine is stable, but Mercury adds caution. The Venus-Jupiter-Saturn Grand Trine, all in Earth signs, promotes grounded action, mature decisions, and tangible progress. But Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, a fire sign, introduces a mental and communicative layer that is reflective, not impulsive, revising, not initiating, philosophical yet prone to overgeneralization. So while the Grand Trine says you can build something lasting, Mercury retrograde whispers, but double-check your plans, your words, and your assumptions first. But since retrograde Mercury in Sagittarius can cause miscommunications due to oversimplification or delayed legal, educational, or travel matters, November 26, 2025 favors deep reflection on values and structures without signing contracts or launching plans. Mercury retrograde amplifies the introspective side of the Grand Trine. Because Mercury is nearly stationing, its retrograde energy is strongest in its internal phase, not chaotic but highly contemplative. This actually complements Saturn's influence, discipline, review, and deepens Venus's discernment, choosing wisely in love or money. So instead of acting on the Grand Trine's potential, November 26th may be better used for finalizing decisions after a period of review, not starting new ones, revising budgets, relationship agreements, or sustainability plans, reconnecting with someone from the past in a mature, healing way. Venus-Saturn, reassessing long-term goals with realism and hope. Jupiter-Saturn. Practical recommendations. Given Mercury retrograde, do review contracts, financial plans, or partnership agreements. This is an excellent day for editing, not initiating. Reconnect with someone from your past to resolve or deepen a bond. Venus-Saturn trine supports mature reconciliation. Reflect on your values. What do you truly want to build in the next 5-10 years? Journal or meditate on abundance, responsibility, and worth. Mercury's station makes insight especially available. Avoid signing major legal, financial, or romantic agreements without triple-checking details. Assuming verbal understandings are final, get things in writing later, once Mercury is direct and clear. Launching new marketing campaigns, tech rollouts, or travel plans that depend on precise timing or communication. So, let's conclude our analysis with the following conclusion. Mercury retrograde does not cancel or weaken the Grand Trine. Instead, it tempers its expression, shifting the energy from doing to discerning. November 26, 2025 is not a day to act, but to confirm. Not to leap, but to anchor. The Grand Trine offers a rare foundation of grace and stability. Mercury retrograde ensures you lay that foundation wisely, with eyes wide open. And because Mercury stations direct just days later, Nov 30, any decisions clarified on the 26th can be confidently enacted in early December, making this a powerful 1-2 rhythm of reflection followed by grounded action.
And that's a cosmic mic drop, my friends. The universe is guiding us, but only we can choose to listen. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more astro adventures, and join the conversation in the comments. Until next time, stay fearless, stay fabulous, and keep dancing to the rhythm of the cosmos. Meow off.